Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new here. This is Harlequin Intuitive, back with another pick a card reading. So for today's video, this is going to be a bit of a heavier topic, but necessary for these times because I feel like it's what the collective needs right now. This reading is going to be what is in your shadow. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with the term shadow work, in psychology, the shadow is basically the repressed parts of ourselves that we hide or discard for survival or for some type of coping mechanism, coping strategy that we adapt in order to basically survive. And the problem is that when we get older, this repressed shadow side of ourselves that we refuse to integrate actually begins to start to cause problems for us because it's something that is a part of us that wants to be recognized and validated, but because it's so difficult for us to integrate that side of ourselves into our personality, because it's so dangerous to do so, at least psychologically it is, it can come up in a lot of different ways, and it can come up in a lot of destructive ways. So if you're unfamiliar with the term, I suggest that you look it up because it's very important to do this kind of work. And hopefully that'll shed some light on anything that might come up during this reading. So be aware, this might not be the most what's the word I'm trying to think of here? It might not be the most agreeable reading for most people. It's not supposed to be necessarily a positive message, but if you feel drawn to this reading, there might be something that can be brought up from your subconscious in order for you to work through it now. So please be aware of that. Also, I want to remind people this is a general reading, so if it doesn't resonate with you 100%, I am available for personal readings as well, so feel free to check out the link in my description box and in my bio, I think, if you would like a more detailed personal reading for your own circumstances. Okay, so that being said, let's get started. I hope you guys can hear me okay. So for group one, I try to choose animals that are all kind of like either hang out in the night or hang out in the shadows, right? So we have group one is the lone wolf. This is a little wooden carved wolf. I believe I've stolen all of these, by the way. So keep that in mind. I think every single one of these items was stolen. So I think it's really just kind of perfect for the shadow reading. Tarot card, pick a card reading. So group one is going to be this lone wolf, is this little wooden carved wolf. Group two is Jiji the black cat. If you haven't seen Kiki's Delivery Service, check out that movie, it's pretty awesome. And group three is going to be the red fox, and this is actually a Christmas ornament. So tap into the energy of each animal and choose which one calls out to you the most, and then I will see you at your reading at the timestamps below. Okay, how y'all doing? Y'all hanging in there? Oh, that's some good tea. Okay, so Gigi, you're gonna come over here, and you two, Fox, we're going to start with the lone wolf. I'm going to put him right there. All right, lone wolf. So, I'm using my Gothic cards today. Okay. All right, so for group 1, okay, wait, let me do the announcement for the timestamp people. All right. Hi, group 1, if you chose the lone wolf, this is going to be your reading. So the question is, what is hidden in your shadow? Meaning, what is hidden in your unconscious, or what aspect of yourself is repressed and needs to be integrated into your persona at this time? Please be aware this is a general reading, tapping into the general energy of group number 1. So take what resonates with you. And again, if you would like a more personal reading for your own circumstance, I am available for that as well. So check out the link in the description. But let's just see if we can tap into this general energy for group 1 and talk about and try to decipher what might be hidden in their shadow. So group 1, please. Okay, so for group 1, we have the Knight of Swords. And this is a knight on a like Dalmatian speckled horse, kind of slaughtering people in the battlefield with his swords. And we also have the Page of Cups, which is a deer figure with wings and lightning and cups falling all around him. Let me just see if I can tap into it, guys. So if this is an element of yourself that's hidden in your shadow, we have the Page of Cups. I always read it as kind of like a childhood emotional state. The word that came to me is intimacy, and this is something that I was researching recently called intimacy anorexia, which is, or emotional anorexia, which is basically the idea of not being able to meet your emotional needs because of the damage that could cause. So you live your life kind of starved of like your emotional needs. And with the Page of Cups, if this is a shadow self that developed in the childhood, and then we have the Knight of Swords, I would say that this has to do with an inability to ask for what you want, or an inability to go after what you need emotionally. So the Knight of Swords is communication and movement, or movement and communication. And so because the swords are all about communicating and intellect and connection, so it's a risk-taking energy. It's someone, the Knight of Swords kind of goes after for what he wants and is unapologetic. It's the fastest moving of the knights, and it's also the most daring and the bravest and the most courageous in a lot of ways, because the Knight of Swords is not afraid to get into any conflicts that might arise because of his beliefs. The Knight of Swords goes after what he believes in blindly, and often that's at the expense of his horse. So, you know, it's like these battle scenes where, you know, like these knights are like fighting in battle, and the horses are the ones that end up getting all destroyed and slaughtered. It's almost like the horse didn't really ask to be in that battle, but for the sake of the vision or the belief of the knight, it's almost like you end up taking huge risks for what you believe in. So that is why the Knight of Swords often is like risky behavior, because it's about going after things blindly without even thinking them through. And then with the Page of Cups, it's like, well, that's the childhood emotional, you know, need. So I would say that for the Lone Wolf group, your shadow is is an inability to really integrate that emotional desire and the inability to go after what you want. And so I feel like this starved energy. How does this shadow self manifest itself in your life? How does the shadow self manifest itself in your life without you realizing it, group one? Just gonna really shuffle them because I've been doing a lot of readings. Really shuffle them. So for group one, please, how does this shadow energy manifest in their daily life unconsciously? Oops, okay. So 2 major arcana and 2 wands. We have the Chariot and the 8 of Wands. This is a very fast-paced moving energy. And it makes sense because of the Knight of Swords, because it's like going after what you want, you know. The Chariot, though, often represents the identity. And so how your identity has formed and how you take action and go after things might not be fully integrating with your desires. And we also have the Empress and the 6 of Wands. So all of this to me has to do with desire, like how you go after your desires, and especially with women. If you feel like, let me see, how do I put this? Because I don't want to like gender these readings or whatever, but this is just what comes up. You could have been a situation where you were actually emotionally starved by your own mother. So in the ways, regardless of your gender, of course, and so the way in which you go about trying to form relationships with women, or if you are a woman, the way that you relate to others as a woman, it might be a way to kind of go around the shadow. Let me see if I can get this clearer. Because it says it's a lot about the identity. The Chariot and the Empress, it's almost like the union. These cards are often about, you know, the Empress is the mother, the sacred mother, and the Chariot often can be represented by pregnancy because it's the union of these two opposite forces, and it's the channeling of this energy through a vessel in time, you know. And so it's a very feminine energy, but it's also like going after something, especially with these two cards, the 8 of Wands and the 6 of Wands, which represents victory and success and leadership. So there's like a driver here and there's a receiver in a way. And so I feel like the way that the shadow is manifesting in your life might have to do with your relationship to women, or if you are a woman, how you pursue things as a woman. So it could be like, if you're a woman, it could be like you pursue things maybe too aggressively, and if you're a man, you could feel like you pursue women too aggressively. I'm not sure. Let's see if we can get clarity on this. How does this shadow self relate to how it manifests in group one's life, please? Okay, wow. Okay, this makes more sense. The 7 of Wands is all about asserting yourself. So I feel like it's almost like you always feel like you either have to assert yourself or prove yourself by working very, very, very hard. So I see this energy of like you feel like you need a certain social power, especially with the Chariot and the Star together. It's like this is your social persona in a way. You feel like you need to work very, very, very hard to prove yourself to women, or if you are a woman, you feel like you have to work very hard to prove yourself in general. So be aware of that. I feel like this is because when we are starved emotionally. It's like you feel almost like you're not going to get what you need unless you take all this extra action. So I really feel like because it's like so much hard work, there's 2 8s and like the all of these wands and everything. It's almost like your entire identity is wrapped around this idea of success or this vision of success where you always feel like people are coming after you, against you, and you have to really, really prove yourself and work very hard. The difficulty with this is that I feel like when the shadow self is trying to integrate something that you're not accepting, the identity can actually be very fragile. So I'm going to clear these, and then I'm going to ask, is there any advice on integrating the shadow self into your persona? For group 1, please, how can you integrate your shadow self into your persona? How can you blend these two energies? That one knocked the wolf over. Said, oh my god. Alright, that's enough. That's enough, and you all fell all the way over here. Oh, hold up. Okay, alright. Okay. So we have 2 major arcana, the Hermit and the Wheel of Fortune. This is a cycle that you're in that needs to come to an end. And in order to do that, it requires a deal of self-reflection, reflecting on your past. How have you acted in this way, or how do you feel like you haven't been able to integrate this? We have the 3 and the 4 of Wands. This to me can indicate a sense of desiring completion. So it's almost like the feeling of like you're missing a side to yourself and you want to find that completion. And that is also represented by the 9 and the 10 following each other. I feel like you tend to isolate yourself and maybe fall into the workaholic type of thing. That could be just for some of you. I really also feel this inability to connect with people from your hometown or people that you consider to be normal, I would say, or like people that you would consider to be kind of more like people you grew up around, or more like people from your hometown. Like there's this disconnection where you're kind of waiting for something to complete you, but it's never going to come because you're the one that needs to go back. It's like it's either about going back home or going and moving to a place or seeking out a new place or new people that is going to feel like home. And so you have to really reflect on what is it going to take to complete this emptiness, to fulfill this desire. I feel like you could be aware somewhat of your situation, but it requires like a shift. It requires a change, maybe in mentality and maybe in integrating your past and like finding a completion with that, especially with people that you grew up with or your hometown or your family. Then we also have the King of Swords and the King of Pentacles. Together, these are the highest potential of mental integration and physical integration. And this is a very masculine energy compared to the feminine energy before. How do you integrate the shadow? I think that it's really like becoming your best self in a way, or becoming a master at something. Let's see if we can get clarity with that. It could also be forming connection with a more masculine side, or like authority figures. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Authority figures. Like It's something about, you know, like, it's not about submitting to authority, but it's about respecting a certain authority or a certain law or a certain rule that has to do with, I don't know. Let's see if we can get clarity. Clarity on the kings, please. Whoa. Here we have the Empress again. Okay, that makes more sense. So, again, we were talking before about the whole thing about relating to the feminine and, you know, this kind of situation where the feminine is involved. By being the King of Swords and the King of Pentacles, this is mastering communication and value. So this is about when you relate to women, or if you are a woman, when you relate to the world. It's about increasing your standards, not just in women, but in yourself. Like, you have to be able to believe that you're worth it, and you have to be able to believe that what you're seeking is out there. So by becoming the maximum potential, I mean, the kings, like, they rule their kingdom, right? By understanding yourself completely with the King of Swords, understanding your psychology, understanding your history, and the King of Pentacles understanding what you value and your value system, then you can complete the cycle by getting to a point where you almost graduate. Like, this, all of this has happened for you to graduate. So by integrating this energy, it's almost like gaining a sense of stability. It's no more about having to prove yourself or having to work hard or having to build or having to become something that's impossible, like setting an impossible standard for yourself. It's about believing in your own worth and acting upon it, and then believing in the possibility that what you really want is out there for you, and it's not something that you need to find. It's something that already exists in a way. So, with that being said, I rambled on forever with this reading. I'm gonna just ask the Enchanted Map Oracle deck if any final advice for Group 1, please, on integrating their shadow. Any final advice for Group 1, please? Okay, this is a beautiful card. You got Coming to Life. So I agree with the other cards that say that your cycle is coming to an end. This cycle of this duality is coming to an end, and you're actually already integrating it into your persona. So as soon as you finish this cycle, you're going to start seeing that, like, things are going to start happening for you on, like, a greater level. Like, you're gonna actually start seeing changes in your life once this happens. So I'm gonna leave the reading at that, Group 1. If not, I'll just go on forever. I hope this was helpful for you. I hope wish you best of luck. And again, thank you so much for watching, and hope to see you guys again soon for more pick a card readings. So talk to you guys later, Group 1. Bye. Very interesting, Group 1. 24 minutes, okay. Okay, now let's do Group 2, Jiji the cat. Okay. Okay. Hi, Group 2, if you chose Jiji the black cat, this is going to be your reading on what is in your shadow, or like what is a part of yourself that has been suppressed and is wanting to be integrated into your persona at this time, to your fully developed personality that has been repressed in the shadows for group 2, please. What do we need to know? What is in their shadow? Okay, that's perfect. The 2 cards I needed. Ooh, wow. I want to mention that this was covering up the sun here. And when I pulled it away, it was really kind of like, oh my God, like I wasn't looking at it. So interesting. We have the 8 of Pentacles covering up the 10 of Swords. So the 8 of Pentacles here, we have a kind of like knight type of character, like a ram type of character. He actually has like animal feet and his hands are like metal. And he is on some kind of horse, like a black horse, and he's like hunched over it like a gargoyle. And this guy was covering up the 10 of Swords, which is a type of clown harlequin figure, bleeding to death, it seems, and it's on a camel. 10 of Swords, right? And there are 10 trumpets being played in the background by these bald dudes and a black sun. Which, by the way, the sun represents a rebirth of some kind. So let's see here. 8 of Pentacles plus the 10 of Swords. As far as a shadow, if this is repressed, hiding, a self that you don't want to integrate out of fear of dying or, you know, being exiled. Let's see. I see that there is some painful ending that you don't want to admit to or that you don't want to see clearly. And it's covered up by something that you've built, something that you've created for yourself. Let me see if I can get more clarity with it. I feel like for you, group 2, it's something about a destruction of your identity. I'm getting with this card, like it's like you had a very solid identity that was kind of destroyed by some kind of job or role that was placed on you, and you had to watch yourself die in a way, or watch a certain identity die so that it could be replaced by a job or some kind of service that you had to do for someone else, either your family or another person. This harlequin figure is wearing a crown, and her camel also has a crown. But to me, it seems like she's bleeding to death, and the camel is kind of like dead. They're in a desert. So camels are known to like store water for long periods of time. Water represented by life, of course, and like the 10 trumpets in the background. It's like proclaiming the death of something. So I think that this is like, it has to do with like a deep talent or some. I'm really just getting the identity. Like this person that you used to be was kind of like destroyed because it was just too much battle to have to like fight against the people around you to be this person. And then it was replaced by this burdensome job or this burdensome labor that you had to do, that it's made over the years, it's like made you really strong, but at the same time it's like destroyed you. So let me see if we can get some clarity on why is this, no, I was going to ask, how does this shadow self manifest in your daily life? How does this repressed hidden self manifest in your daily life? For group 2, please. You guys see that? I'm not even joking. Okay. The Ten of Swords again. Okay, wow. Let me just organize these. Okay. So the way that this manifests is in your relationships. Because we have here the Lovers and then the Four of Cups. This has to do with how you relate to others, how you connect to others. People might be wanting to include you, offer you something, and you kind of like are standoffish and cold because there could be a situation where you're still grieving over the past, or you're just kind of wounded from past relationships. It could also be like, because this one came up with these, and the Eight of Swords is all about not being aware of your feelings, like not being aware of how you feel, especially with this card. So it's almost like I feel like this manifests as a certain numbness or a certain coldness in relationships, whether that's romantic or friendship or whatever. It's just like this type of like inability to know what to say or how to connect or how to feel, even because there is a sense of betrayal where you've had to compromise yourself in order to relate to others. And so it's like this persona is very deep within, you know? It's like it has been destroyed. And so this is really clear to me with the Ten of Swords again. This is the same card, by the way. So the Harlequin persona that has been destroyed here is actually you being destroyed by the judgments of others and kind of like silenced. Like this is a situation where it's like there's no returning to it, but there is a transformation that can occur in a type of rebirth. So this has isolated you very much from yourself and from other people. It's something that it's like you want to go back to this, but you can't because it's been destroyed. And so the way that it manifests is like isolating yourself and not being able to feel when it comes to relationships. I just wanted to clarify one thing about this identity that has been destroyed. I want to ask, what exactly is that identity that has been destroyed? And what do we need to know about that? Because I feel like it's kind of like hidden deep under the subconscious where you don't even know what it is. So what is this identity that has been repressed for group 2, please? Temperance. The Temperance and the Chariot, this goes back to like an identity. The way that you express yourself in the world, your mask that you wear for the world, it's not exactly who you are. And so this is something where, this is interesting. The Chariot plus Temperance often represents a certain sense of control. So it's like driving a stick shift, you know? It's like you need to be very like delicate with the clutch and everything because you're in motion, and it's like you need to know your car and everything. And then Temperance is actually the alchemist, where you have to be very delicate with the substances that you use, and you have to know very well what kind of substances you're using, because if not, you could blow yourself up. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like it has to do with exercising self-control and knowing your abilities and knowing how to go after them or how to channel them. So I really feel like this identity that has been blocked for you has to do with multiple things. It could be creativity, how you express yourself, but it could also be how you make decisions. You could have become someone who's too submissive or incapable of deciding for yourself. And it also has to do with, it could also manifest in the form of like sexual energy, either overdoing it or underdoing it, or like, you know, not having a proper balance with your body or yourself or your identity. And so it's like when it comes to these types of things, it's almost like you either go too far, it's like you go too far or it's too little. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a difficulty with the balance, and it's a difficulty with self-control. It's like an impulse control type of thing, because your kind of like life force energy was limited at a certain point. And so this makes sense that you would have difficulty with relationships and with understanding your own feelings within relationships, because quite literally, like, that mechanism for you was overwritten. And I keep getting this kind of image of like being burdened by having to do work for others, or being burdened by having to serve a certain purpose for others, you know? So now I'm going to ask these cards, how can you begin to integrate the shadow self into your personality? What steps can you take, group 2? So group 2, what steps can you take to integrate this shadow self into your personality? Okay. Wow, 2 nights together. That's a good sign. I see a lot of movement happening for you. That's good. The first thing is the 3 of Cups. This is about your relationships, and then we have the Page of Swords and the 4 of Swords, which is about you need to enforce your boundaries in small ways when it comes to your friendships and the people around you. You have to like, I see you closed off here and like not able to say what you want to say, or not able to ask for what you want. I see you here like beginning to take the steps to actually stand up for yourself within relationships. This is going to move things forward for you very quickly, and then what might start to happen is that you might have a conflict of values with other people. So this means that you are going to start having, like, it's going to kind of unlock something in you where you are going to start asking for what you want and enforcing your boundaries, and then ultimately maybe having to go away, or what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like it begins to create a sense of value within yourself that you can actually start to envision a future with. And it might cause a clash between certain people in your life, but it's absolutely necessary. So be aware of the people in your life right now, and start to speak up for yourself, because that's going to start moving you forward in a direction, and you're going to start seeing changes in your life slowly but surely. So finally, let's ask the Enchanted Map Oracle deck if they have any advice for you, group 2. Okay. So for group 2, please, any final advice for them in integrating their shadow self? Ride the wave. I'm just going to ask for one more. Okay, interesting. Ride the wave and unexpected visitors. It's saying you are ready now to face any unexpected challenges that will come from asserting yourself more. I really feel like you're the type of person that's been burdened by others a lot, and so it's almost like people come to your house unannounced, or they just kind of invade your privacy. Be aware of this and just kind of like go with the flow of your own feelings. It's almost like saying like it's time to let go, and it's time to just like kind of do more of what you want. And the unexpected things that might happen could be good or bad, so we shall see, right? So anyway, I think I'm going to leave this reading at that. Group 2, I hope this was helpful for you, and I hope to see you again in the future for more pick a card readings. So Take care, Happy New Year, and talk to you guys later. Bye. Thank you, Jiji. Finally, group 3. Okay. Hi, group 3. If you chose the red fox, this is going to be your shadow reading for today. So for group number 3, please show us what is hidden in their shadow. What repressed part of their identity do they need to begin to integrate into their persona now? Please and thank you. Okay, well, 2 cards came up already. Okay, this is similar to group 2, but a little bit different. So we have the King of Swords. Or King of Swords. Oh yeah, the King of Swords. I thought it was the King of Wands for a second. And the 10 of Swords. So again, similar to group 2, this card was a repeat, but in a different way. With the King of Swords, we have intelligence. I feel like this energy is more about your intelligence was shut down by an authority figure. So the King of Swords can be an authority figure that has more intelligence or higher intelligence. This is a figure that looks like kind of like a Chewbacca with a king, with a crown and like ram horns, and then there's like a bloody king behind him, and like he has a sword, and then it's like there's like a bull, and then it's like tentacles, and it's just kind of like, you know, he's kind of like Chewbacca screaming in battle. And then the 10 of Swords is a harlequin figure who is bleeding to death, sitting atop a dying camel with a crown, and there are 10 trumpeters behind her, you know, kind of like announcing her death. So this is very much the battle of the minds. I feel like in your shadow is saying that your intelligence has been shut down completely because of an authority figure. And so the way that this might happen for you is that this is a side of you that you're repressing. And so it's almost like when you start to kind of like think in a certain way or deviate from a norm, you're immediately shut down, and you do it to yourself. So let's see what the cards have to say on how does this manifest into your persona? How does this manifest into your daily life, this repressed self? How does this repressed self manifest? For group 3, please. Oh, all right. We see the Empress yet again. Okay, wow, this is very specific. We see the Hierophant, the Ace of Pentacles, Justice, and the Empress. With the Hierophant and Justice together, we see authority figures, law of all kinds, systems of all kinds, school systems, work systems, government systems, authority figures of all kinds, and then we see justice, a law. And I think that the way that this manifests for you is that you don't go after what you want, or you don't go after what you deserve because you feel like it goes against the traditional beliefs or it goes against a system. This Empress here, it also could manifest in terms of women, in terms of how you pursue women, or if you are a woman, how you express yourself as a woman. And with the Ace of Pentacles, it's about new opportunities. So what opportunities do you go after when you are making a decision to go after an opportunity? who is stopping you from pursuing something? I see that it's not necessarily a conflict with authority, but it's almost like a submission to authority. Like you allow certain belief systems to rule you when you pursue things, or or in a job, or in your work, in your career. And you might be confused about your vocation, because the Hierophant is also your vocation, and it's what you have been called to do in this life, right? And it's almost like the Hierophant is like, okay, here's your vocation, and it might not be suited for you, what you believe you should be doing. You might be trained also, like with this energy, such a heavy authority figure or such a strong influence mentally, it could almost be that you've been trained into something that is not really your thing, almost like you're a lawyer or a priest or something, quite literally. You've been trained in the mentality of like a priest or a lawyer, or someone working in the government or something, and it has altered the way you perceive yourself and the way that you create things, the way that you go after things. You could be someone who's a creative, but you're pursuing the wrong thing, I would say. So let me see if we can get some clarity with this. What else do we need to know about how this manifests for them? For group 3, please. Okay, that's way too many. Let's just take those 2. I'm seeing the theme of self-sabotage a little bit, like when you start a new journey or a new path, you immediately stop yourself. This could also have to do with traditional feminine roles. So it's almost like, but you're a woman, so you're not supposed to think that, or the way that you perceive women. There's this highly like very strict set of rules that I feel like is ruling your life right now. And so when you either pursue women or you want to pursue something as a woman, there's a sense of self-sabotage where you sabotage yourself and you deny yourself your opportunities because you're like, I'm detached from it, like, I don't want it anyway, or that's not really me. It's this insecurity when it comes to pursuing something. How else does this affect them? Also, anybody who has a baby, or like who is, I don't know why I feel like that's something, the Ace of Pentacles plus the Empress. It's like being ruled by a masculine force, maybe, or feeling kind of owned by a masculine force. That could be something where your own decisions have been shut down, and then it's like you have to follow the orders of a masculine or a set of rules that you feel bound to. Marriage also, like you feel like you don't want to be married, and you're stuck in a marriage, or like you don't, like if there's a sense of not wanting to be where you're at because it's something that's been imposed on you. How else does it manifest? Ooh, that's cute. The King and the Knight of Cups together. So this has to do with the type of men that you pursue, or if you're a man, the way that you pursue things as a man. There's a type of there's a sensitivity here that is not being acknowledged, and I feel like it's this authority that's like ruling down on you, that it's like you want to pursue something creative, you want to do something that is that nourishes your soul, and become really great at that. But because of all of these authorities, it's almost like you can't do that. Another way of seeing this is like you want to be more sensitive. It's like this duality between masculine and feminine. If you are a masculine, you want to be more sensitive and pursue things like in a more artistic way, but you don't allow yourself to be that way because of the harshness of the masculine roles in your life. So I really just feel like these authority figures have kind of like driven you, and then it's like you don't let yourself be soft or vulnerable because you don't feel safe doing that, and you feel like you've been shut down. And if you are a woman, it's like it could be also like this sense of servitude to men, that it's like you have to be constantly in service to them, or it's like you feel like you have to be the one that gives to men when in reality what you really want is for them to be nourishing you as well. This type of nourishing masculine, it's an artistic, nurturing, caring figure. And this is quite the opposite from everything that you've experienced up until now. So, that being said, and I know that was a little vague, there were like a lot of messages. Again, I am available for personal readings if you want a little more detail on it, on your own personal situation. So, for group 3, how can they integrate this shadow self into their persona? How can they integrate this into their personality? For group 3, please. Walking away. We love it. We love to see you walk away. Yeah. The way to integrate this into your persona, you have to find a level of emotional detachment from people that are in your environment. We have the Lovers, and then we have the 8 of Cups. This is about finding new options, connecting with different people, breaking out of a comfort zone, and moving towards something different. But also assert yourself, like practice asserting yourself and deciding what you want. Whoever is against you has no power over you now. And so again, that's the whole trick of the shadow. It's like we do it out of a survival thing, and then we can't integrate it. To integrate this, you have to learn how to go your own path. And this has to do with your relationships. It's interesting here, the 6 of Cups plus the Page of Pentacles. This has to do with like a childhood thing. Siblings or children. Let me see if I can get clarity with that one. What is this childlike energy? Identity? Yeah, I think it's really kind of like growing out of a childhood identity. And like going back to what you wanted as a child. Your identity is formed in your childhood, so go back to what made you happy in your childhood. What would you do to escape from your family situation? What would you do with your siblings or with your friends or something to escape the conflict? Find out what that is and start building more of that. Start building towards that. Like start investing in that more. So it's like if you really liked music, invest in an instrument. If you really liked painting or playing with some kind of toy, I don't know, invest in something similar to that so that you can start to rebuild that and rebuild your identity, hopefully, because it's like there's a situation that you might need to walk away from as far as emotionally investing. Let's get one more. Temperance. A similar message to the other group. The Chariot combined with Temperance is all about exerting your self-control and being empowered through being able to control your own energies. So instead of depending on people outside of yourself to give you control over yourself, finding that sense of balance and self-control from within, almost like driving a stick shift or like practicing alchemy. It's like a very delicate art, and you have to know yourself very well to be able to execute that properly. So not giving your power away to others and finding that from within, by integrating your childhood self and also asserting yourself, it will help you a lot. So finally, I'm going to ask the Enchanted Map Oracle deck if they have any advice, and apparently they already do. Oh wow, this is a beautiful message. So balancing act, final message, is all about finding balance within yourself. Do not give your power to others on how you should feel about yourself. Do not give your own emotional control to others. Find that balance from within yourself. And the Bone Collector is all about making amends with the past and looking at all the things that have died in your life and kind of like remembering the power that they have given you, or like understanding that nothing has really been lost. Everything has been kept safe for you to go back to and integrate. And I really feel like with this group, it's all about integrating a childhood that was lost. Okay, so I'm going to leave this reading at that, group 3. I hope it was helpful for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks again for watching the video, and I hope to see you guys again in the future for more pick a card readings. So talk to you guys later and see you again soon. Bye.